Hi, I'm Amber,
And I'm Kirsten.
and you're listening to
Lurking in the Shadows. Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Welcome to episode 3 of Lurking in the Shadows.
Woo.
Today's my case. I'm going to be covering the case of Ellen Rae Greenberg, which is a bizarre and very sad case. She was only 27 years old when she died on January 26, 2011, in her apartment of 20 stab wounds.
She's young.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she's part of the 27 club. Lots of people died that age.
Oh,
You know?
yeah. I didn't even think of that.
Mm-hmm. We're going to classify this as a mysterious death because even though it did get ruled as a suicide, as you will learn, there's a lot of weird circumstances behind her death. And there's just no way it was a suicide, in my opinion. And
Probably a lot of, I would say probably a lot of other people's opinions too.
And
Right,
it is ironic. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, I don't know this case, so I'm excited.
Oh, you don't know anything about it?
Maybe as you get into more details, I might, me and my, never remembering names.
Amber's bad with names.
Terrible. Absolutely horrendous. You'll learn. I can't remember. So I'm curious. I might recognize some details as you go on.
Yeah, maybe. But I do dive into a lot of detail. This might be a two-parter. I'm not sure. We'll kind of see how long it takes me to get through it.
Yeah, this only episode 3. Who knows? We don't know what we could split into 2. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. So maybe a two-parter, maybe one. If it's going to be one, this will probably be a long episode. And then it's a little ironic because I was just telling you in January when we met up that I wanted to cover this case next. And then a week or two later, it was announced in the news that her case was being reopened. So it's a little weird timing, but great timing. So that way I can kind of talk about the update a little bit at the end. And it's also exciting that it's getting reopened because this is a very infuriating case. And hopefully things move in the right direction soon. This is also a fairly local case, which is why I wanted to cover it too. This takes place in the Philadelphia area. I'm about 1.5 hours west from Philly and Lancaster.
So this case, the update being reopened, are you going to go into more detail later?
Yeah, I'm going to talk about that at the end.
Okay, good. All right, because
we'll kind of go through what all happens and then what her parents do because of that.
Okay.
Her parents work really hard, and they have worked very hard for many years to get people to listen to them.
Okay.
And so finally it seems like that might be happening.
Yep, and already from what you've barely told me, I just have a deep gut feeling that this has something to do with neglect of evidence or police just not doing their job.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. My tingly spider senses.
So we'll start with some background on who Ellen was. Ellen Rae Greenberg was born on June 23rd, 1983 to parents Josh and Sandy Greenberg in New York City. She was their only child, which makes this a little more sad. In 1994, when Ellen was in middle school, they moved to Harrisburg, PA, where her mom is from. And then Ellen attended Susquehanna Township schools. And Harrisburg is only about 45 minutes from where I live and from where Amber used to live. I've driven through Harrisburg many times, been there a couple times for like the farm show, Whitaker Center, different things. And then my hairstylist, who is a Vivid hairstylist, she's located in Harrisburg. She has her own little suite. She's a Vivid and alternative hair specialist. So shout out to Ella Fritz because she's great. she gave me the hair color I wanted that 2 other salons could not do. So she can make magic happen. So if you're in need of a vivid specialist, I highly recommend her. She's on Instagram at Hair on the Fritz with a Z.
Very
And
nice.
then we also went to a bookstore near Harrisburg, me, Amber, and our friend Steph, called Cupboard Maker Books. And there's kitties there you can adopt
Yay!
that run around.
Yeah,
So
it
that
was a
was really fun.
very, very cute old used bookstore. Walk in the door, you just get that
Mm-hmm.
smell of an
Yeah,
old
yeah.
bookstore. It was very cute in there.
And I found a really cool crime book there with like crime scene photos and stuff.
Oh
That
yeah,
was
there was a nice crime
crazy. Yeah.
section. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But anyway, after high school, Ellen attended Penn State University, which is a very expensive school. She majored in communications. While there, she worked as a lionizer, and I'm assuming they got that name because the Penn State mascot is the Nittany Lion. In that job, she introduced athletes and their parents to the campus and would help out on the football field. She was described as having a way of bringing people together, and her mom is quoted saying she was a really fun, adorable, very loving, bubbly young woman with a bright future ahead of her. And I'll show you a picture, and I'll post. There's lots of pictures I'll be posting from this case with, but she was very pretty, dark brown hair, very big smile, bright white teeth.
Bubbly, like you said. I just picture,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
a bubbly young lady.
And she had like freckles. She was really pretty.
Aw.
She then graduated with a degree in communications because she thought she wanted to be a speech pathologist, but then realized that wasn't really the career path for her. She then attended Temple University in Philadelphia, where she earned her teaching credentials. And speaking of Temple, I took a 3-month travel assignment there at their Temple University Hospital, and I'd never do it again. It was awful. It was rough. It was wild. So all the praises to people that work there full time. I don't know how they do it. The 3 months was enough for me.
Good old Philly.
Yeah. But shout out to 5 East and everyone that worked there when I was there. They were super nice and accommodating, and because travel nurses, they sometimes don't get treated very nicely and they're given like the worst patients, but my assignment was always very fair.
Good.
After Ellen obtained her teaching credentials, she got a job as a first grade teacher at Juniata Park Academy. I looked on Google, and it looks like the school was located in North Philly, not too far from Kensington, which is a horrible area. And it's only about 10 minutes from Temple University Hospital. So I was like kind of very close to where she used to teach when I was going to Temple.
Okay.
Her father said about her job, she felt good about what she was doing and the kids loved her. She was that teacher that everyone wanted and bragged about. She gave hugs to start and end the day. And while most kids loved when a sub came in for a break, for most teachers, Ellen's students could not relate. They look forward to learning because of Ellen.
Oh.
And then in 2007, Ellen met a guy named Sam Goldberg through a mutual friend. They went on a blind date, and I guess they hit it off. He was a television producer for NBC and later golf.com. On June 27, 2010, Sam proposed to Ellen on the beach during a trip to California. And there's some pictures I found of that trip that I can post. And then shortly after this, they moved to a modern apartment at Venice Lofts Apartments on the 6th floor with views of the Schuylkill River in Philadelphia. They were going to get married. Yeah. They were going to get married at Hotel Hershey in August 2011.
Wow.
Which Hershey's another very local area.
Yeah,
Hershey
that's
Park's only 30 minutes away.
That's a very nice hotel.
Yes, it's very expensive. I could never
Yeah.
even afford to stay there, even just for
No,
one night.
it's a very grand hotel.
Yeah. So I can't imagine how much that wedding was going to cost.
Yeah.
But yeah, we grew up going to Hershey Park like every summer. And
Yep.
now they have like a Halloween event that's kind of similar to Halloween Horror Nights with scare zones, haunted houses, and stuff. So very familiar with Hershey. Sadly, Ellen would never get to attend her wedding day.
Oh.
Yeah.
So wait,
In
this
December,
is 2007?
they met in 2010.
Oh, they met in 2010.
Yeah. In
Okay.
2007 was when she started her, is when they met.
Okay.
And then they got engaged in 2010.
Okay, met, engaged. So now this is 2013?
So we're in
10 or 10?
2010. So they've been together about 3 years. So we're into December 2010 now is what we're getting into.
Okay.
And she passes away in January 2011.
Okay. Okay.
A lot of dates.
Yeah, I know. I'm better with numbers than people's
Mhm.
names, but
In December 2010, about a month before her death, her parents and friends noticed a change in her behavior. She was previously a happy, bubbly, cheerful person, but had recently been noticeably anxious and stressed. Ellen attributed it to stress from work and wedding planning, but her anxiety reached a point where she considered quitting her job and moving back home with her parents. She even sent them a text saying, "I want to leave this place, get me out."
wait, leave what place? Her job?
Like, yeah, her job in Philly.
Okay. Feel like her job and the whole area type thing.
Yeah. Hmm.
Was anything ever mentioned about him?
No.
Okay.
So we'll get into this in a second, but she even sees a therapist and she never says anything bad about him and would even like smile when she would talk about him.
Okay.
So her increasing anxiety also started causing her to have trouble sleeping. On December 18th, 2010, she asked her parents if she could move back home to Harrisburg. They thought this was weird because she's engaged now and has a good job, but she insisted it had nothing to do with Sam, her fiance. Since this seemed to come out of nowhere, her father insisted she see a psychiatrist first before giving up her job and her life in Philadelphia. She agreed, and she attended 3 appointments with Dr. Ellen Berman on January 12th, 17th, and 19th of 2011. She had prescribed her Klonopin, which is an anxiety medication, and Ambien, which is a pretty strong sleeping medication.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate giving. We'll go into do like a get to know us episode at some point, but I'm a nurse, and I hate giving Ambien in the hospital setting because patients always get confused. They always wake up confused. So I
Yeah.
always have to keep a bed alarm on them. They get crazy dreams on Ambien.
Yeah, I've
I
heard
hate,
nothing but like a lot of horror stories
yeah,
about people taking Ambien. I've
yeah,
never taken it, but
I hate giving Ambien. Even if the patient takes it at home, I still don't want to give it to them. So a note from her doctor during her appointment on the 12th, which was their first appointment, said, "Once things in control, my whole life hard worker, anxious not sleeping, job sucks."
okay.
And
So
then
this
her
is off your
parents were under the
text.
impression that she loved her job. On January 16th, she made the last entry in a journal that she was using about her medication use. Because her therapist recommended that she journal each day while on the meds to kind of see if they're helping or not.
Okay.
Notes from her appointment on January 17th stated, "She wants to quit, but mom and fiance don't want her to. She can get out of contract with 2 weeks' notice when she starts to work on something. She starts thinking about everything else, not suicidal." Notes from the appointment on the 19th said, "Way better, feels 75% better, agrees she should just get through till June. She tends to walk around compulsively neatening up." And around this time, she did text her mom saying that the medications were working and she was starting to feel better.
Okay.
On January 22nd, she sent out save the dates for her wedding in August. That same day, she went bridesmaid dress shopping with a friend who was also getting married. And according to the Sippendale Foundation website I found, her friend picked her up that day and later said something seemed off with Ellen. She's quoted saying, I could tell she was not herself. Even when I picked her up to go dress shopping, she just looked disheveled. She was always fully put together, but her hair wasn't done and she just wasn't herself. When we were in the fitting room, she even started crying a little and just said, "I'm so sorry. I know I'm not myself, but I'll get it together." Ellen's Fred said she generally wouldn't press her friend about what was wrong, but she didn't. She normally would press her friend about what was wrong, but she didn't on that occasion because it seemed like Ellen didn't want to make the dress shopping about herself. Ellen told her friend she was stressed and wanted to quit her job and move home, which was as much of a surprise to her friend as it was to her parents. Her friend said, "I knew something wasn't right other than school. My father-in-law worked with her, and he said there was nothing for her to be stressed about. They loved her there." And that day was the last time her friend would see Ellen alive.
Wow.
So that was January 22nd. Now we're up
I
to
have my
January 26th.
I have my suspicions, but I'm still listening.
Okay. So now we're up to January 26, 2011, the day she's found dead.
Wow,
I have
okay.
a timeline of events I found on crimetimeline.com. A big snowstorm was supposed to be coming, so Ellen got out of work early that day around 1:15 p.m. on the 26th because the schools were going to close due to the severe weather. Her fiancé Sam also left work early that day. At 1:26 p.m. on her way home, she used her Visa card at a gas station on Umbria Street to fill her gas tank. She spent $41.20 at pump number 4, filling her tank with 12.8 gallons of gasoline. At 2:30 p.m., she makes a call to Vitri Restaurant. It's unclear if she was calling to make or cancel a reservation. At 2:33 p.m., she made another phone call, but it doesn't specify who she called. After
Okay.
this, she began entering grades in her computer for her first grade students because they were due that day. According to phone and computer records, her last text was sent at 3:47 p.m., and the last activity on her computer was 4:46 p.m. Between 4:45 and 4:50, her fiance Sam leaves their apartment room to head down to their apartment gym, and he is captured on camera doing this. So as far as we know, Ellen was alive and well around 4:45 p.m.
Okay.
At 5:30 p.m., he is seen leaving the gym to head back up to their apartment, but when he got there, he couldn't get in because the swing latch on the door was latched. So it would need to be unlocked from the inside in order to get back in. Sam admits he was very frustrated, knocking loudly, yelling to Ellen, and sent her multiple texts saying, "Hello, open the door. What are you doing? I'm getting pissed. Hello, you better have an excuse. What the fuck? Ah, you have no idea." And I don't know about you, but those texts seem a little abrasive for the
Well, yeah.
situation. Like, why
I
are you so
mean,
mad? Why are you just mad
yeah.
and not concerned or something? Like, maybe she's asleep, you know?
Yeah, I feel like, but as women, that's our way of thinking. Like, immediately my brain
Yeah,
goes to, like, hey, you all right in there? Did you slip and fall? We got a TBI in there? Like, what's happening? You know?
right. I know. I know.
But, like,
It's just like, geez, like,
a guy's perspective is like, oh, I can't believe they're not answering
mm-hmm,
right now. Like,
right.
I feel like, but I don't know. I mean, maybe he's a
Yeah,
narcissist.
I don't know. Maybe. Around 5:44 p.m., neighbors report hearing Sam yell out to Ellen several times. So sometime between 5:45 p.m. and 6, Sam calls his cousin Kamian Schwartzman, who suggested he ask security for help. So after multiple attempts of trying to reach Ellen with no success, he went back downstairs to the lobby around 6 p.m. and asked Phil Hanton, who was like the security doorman guy, to help him break the lock. Phil unfortunately told him it was against policy, but that he could call Ellen for him. At 6:07 p.m., 2 phone calls are made to Ellen's phone from Venice Loft's apartments with no answer. A third unanswered call is made at 6:10 p.m., so Phil offers to call police for him, but they did not do that at this time.
Okay.
The site I found with a timeline of events doesn't exactly match up with the surveillance videos I watched. And I can link the site where I found the videos. I watched them to see when he's going in and out and things. It mentions him going in an elevator at 6:23 p.m., but I watched the surveillance video in the elevator lobby myself, and he's not there at 6:23 p.m. There's a man with his dog and like a delivery person, it looked like, with a cart. Unless there's another elevator in the building that doesn't have camera footage. But I did not see him anywhere at 6:23 p.m. That's mentioned in this timeline of events I found. But apparently at 6:14, Sam calls his cousin again and tells him security was not able to help him. At 6:26 p.m., Sam receives a call from his uncle, James Schwartzman, which is Kamian's dad, and you can see him step into frame a little bit on the left at 6:31, and it looks like he's talking to someone on the phone. His uncle instructs him to try and force his way into the apartment. Then at 6:32 p.m., you can see him on surveillance enter the elevator to go back upstairs.
So,
So
That same elevator that you said you didn't see him on.
They mentioned him going on an elevator at 623, but he does not go in an elevator at 623.
Are you
He's
looking at? Is it the same elevator?
Yes, there's only one elevator in the surveillance footage, and it's the footage that police use. So I don't think there's another elevator anywhere. I think there's just it's two elevators side by side, but I think that's the only elevators for the building.
Okay.
So he's not seen anywhere at 623. You see him at 631 talking on the phone briefly
downstairs,
and then at 632 he fully steps into view and gets back on the elevator to go upstairs.
Okay.
It says he stayed on the phone with his cousin or his uncle while he was trying to break in, but he's not on the phone when he enters the elevator. Like you can see him, you can see him holding his phone in his hand when he gets on the elevator, but he's not talking to anybody on the phone. And so that's going to come up later where he's saying he was on the phone with his cousin or his uncle when he's trying to break in. So I don't know if maybe he just called them again when he gets upstairs, but he was not on the phone at 632 when he's getting on the elevator. So that part's just kind of a little fishy, a little not, doesn't match up.
Yeah, but anytime
so he gets upstairs.
Anytime you go into an elevator, your call drops.
Right. So he might have just called them once he got back upstairs, if he even did.
Yeah. Okay, yep.
So he gets upstairs, breaks in, and finds Ellen slumped on the kitchen floor, leaning against the cabinets. So he screamed, and his uncle or cousin, because they're saying he was on the phone with them, apparently instructed him to call 911. Okay, so I'm going to play the 911 call for you guys so you can kind of hear how he sounds and what he says during this.
Help! I need everything out. I just walked into my apartment. My fiance's on the floor with blood everywhere.
What is the address?
4601 Flat Rock Road. Please come. Help.
4601
Flat Rock Road.
Is this a house or apartment?
Oh no. Oh no.
Apartment.
It's an apartment.
What apartment number?
Please hurry, please.
Where is she bleeding from?
I don't know. I can't tell.
So you have to calm yourself down in order to get you some help.
I'm sorry. I don't know. I'm looking at her right now. I can't see anything. There's nothing broken. She's bleeding. Ellie!
You don't know where she's bleeding from? Can't see where the blood's coming from?
I think her head. I think she hit her head, I think. But it's everywhere.
Okay,
it's everywhere.
Think she might have fallen? Do you know what happened?
She may have slipped. There's blood on the table. Her face is a little purple.
Okay, hold on for rescue for her. Stay on the phone.
Fire Department 842. What's the address? No.
4601 Flat Rock Road. Please hurry.
4601 Flat Rock?
Yes.
What's wrong?
I went downstairs to go work out. I came back up. The door was latched. My fiance's inside. She wasn't answering. So after about a half hour, I decided to break it down. I see her now just on the floor with blood. She's not responding.
Okay. Is she breathing? Look at her chest. I need you to calm down, and I need you to look at her chest. It's really.
I don't think she. I really don't think she is.
Listen to me. Someone's on the way. Look at her chest. Is she flat on her back?
She's on her back. So I bring her.
Look at her chest and tell me if it's going up and down, up and down.
I don't see her moving.
Okay. Do you know how to do CPR?
I don't.
Okay. I can tell you what to do. Okay, until they get there. I want you to keep her flat on her.
God.
Hello.
Yeah, hi, okay.
Are you willing to do CPR with me over the phone until they get there?
I have to, right?
Okay, so get her flat on her back, bare her chest, okay? You want to rip her shirt off. Okay? You need to kneel down by her side.
Oh, my God. Ellie, please.
Listen, you can't freak out, sir, because you
Okay, I'm trying not to. Her shirt won't come off. It's a zipper. Oh, my God. She stabbed herself.
Where?
She fell with a knife. Oh, no, her knife's sticking out.
Her what?
There's a knife sticking out of her heart.
Oh, she stabbed herself?
I guess so. I don't know where she fell on it. I don't know.
Okay, well, don't touch it.
Okay, so I just let her down. Here now, I mean, what do I do?
No, I mean, you can't. If the knife is in her chest, it's going to be kind of hard for you to do CPR at this time.
Oh, no. Oh, my goodness. Okay.
Police, which operator?
277.
Is someone coming here?
Yes, they are. You said 4601 Flat Rock, right?
Yes.
Okay, someone's on the way. And the knife is still inside?
Wait, so what?
The knife is still inside of her?
Yes, I didn't take it out.
Was it her chest or what area?
It's in
It's in her chest. It looks like it's right in her heart.
Okay, someone's on the way out there. Okay, just get.
Oh my God! Oh my God! Okay,
How old is
thank you.
she?
She's 27.
27. And there's no sign of life at all? Like, been turned to her arm.
No, please don't be. What?
Been turned to her arm and tell me if she responds to pain.
She's Ellie. She's not. Her arm, her hands are still warm. I don't know if that means, but there's blood everywhere. I mean,
I know, but you can't. And the knife is still inside of her. How far? Can you see how far it went in?
it looks pretty deep.
Okay.
It looks 3 inches. It's a long knife.
Don't touch anything.
Yeah, don't touch anything. Okay.
I'm not touching anything. I can't believe this stuff.
So wait, it was just you there with her?
We're the only ones here.
And she ran in the door. You said latched it shut.
No, I went downstairs to work out, and when I came back up, the door was latched. Like it was, it wasn't like it was, it was like locked from the inside, and I'm yelling, so I'm
Was
yelling
your house
and
broken into?
No.
So there's no sign of a break-in?
No sign of a break-in at all. I mean, there will be when you get here because I had to break the latch, but to get in.
Okay, 4601 Flat Rock, and this is a house, right?
It's an apartment, apartment.
Okay, that'll help.
Oh my God. All right, thank you. Bye.
Okay. So that's the 911 call.
Wow.
There's some weird things
was-
about it. Don't you
Yeah,
think?
that was bizarre. Yeah, that was bizarre.
Yeah. I mean, he didn't sound that shocked to me.
To me, also, I'm curious for the rest of the story if his story changes, that he the gym and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But you said he's on video at the gym.
Yeah, you can see him
But-
leaving the gym to head back towards the elevator lobby.
Okay, well, I have to hear the rest before I make any conclusive things here, because
Like in the one part where they're telling him he needs to do CPR, he's like, "Well, I have to, right?" It's like,
yeah, like
well,
yeah. If you love somebody, you are going to do everything that you physically can to save them.
Mhm, yeah.
So yeah, that too. That's like, I don't
And
know.
the other
I mean, I
big
get it.
thing- So he's like talking about how he's trying to unzip her jacket, and then he sees the knife. You're telling me this whole time you didn't see a knife sticking out of her
See a
chest?
knife sticking out of her chest. You're right. Yeah, that's true.
Why are you even trying to undo her jacket? You can see there's a knife there.
Did you see?
And then he's like, he acts like he's surprised, like, oh no, now I see a knife here.
and the first thing that comes out of his mouth is she stabbed herself.
Yeah. Or she fell on it.
Yeah, and that was the next thing. It was like she stabbed herself. Probably because when he said, "Oh, she stabbed herself," and he said it out loud, he's like, "Damn, that sounded stupid. I gotta change
Yeah.
that."
Yeah.
Oh, she fell on it, and then he was like, "Well, damn, that sounded stupid too."
Yeah, that's even worse. Like, are you trying to, like, come up with a solution of something that happened even though something else happened?
Yeah, that's what, like, planting a story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right.
So, yeah, the
I'll
911 call is a
take-
little weird. Yeah.
Definitely. Even the
Yeah.
way the operators were reacting was even a little strange, but
Yeah.
okay.
So the other confusing thing is that every source I find says he calls 911 at 6:30. But that's impossible because I told you he's on the surveillance footage getting on the elevator at 6:32
Yeah.
to go back upstairs. So how's he calling 911 at 6:30 when he's not even upstairs yet to see her dead? Every source says 911 calls at 6:30. And I have not found any sources to explain this discrepancy, and it's driving me nuts. I found a Reddit article that also kind of mentions this little discrepancy, so I'm glad I'm not the only one to take notice. But like, I imagine police would have had to take a notice to that too. They watched the surveillance footage. Unless the
The-
surveillance footage time is off,
That's
or
the only thing
30
I
is an
could think.
estimate.
Yeah. That's the only thing I could think is that they're just estimating, not down to the minute, or that time is off.
Because when I was researching this, I told Brandon, I was like, I need to call police. I found a discrepancy in the case.
Right?
He did not call at 6:30.
Nope.
I watched the surveillance footage. He's not even upstairs yet at 6:32. He's just getting on the elevator. He did not call 911 at 6:30.
Was there video of him busting in the door?
That's the other thing. The only surveillance footage is like outside the elevator lobby and outside the gym. There's a little hallway there. Did not find anything that says that there's cameras in the hallways where the apartments are. Because there is no footage of him up there that's ever released or mentioned. But it seems kind of weird that they only have surveillance footage like downstairs. Why don't they have it in the hallways? Because they're up on the 6th floor.
Yeah.
So that's the other weird thing. There's also no footage of him going into the room or breaking in or whatever he did.
But it was broken into.
The latch was broken.
Okay.
There is a broken latch.
All right. I need more details.
Yeah. 6:42 p.m. You can see who I assume to be the doorman with 3 other men who they look like firefighters because they're wearing those like big black jackets with like a yellow stripe on them. I mean, I guess they could be paramedics, but so that's at 6:42. You see them in the elevator lobby waiting for an elevator. And then 2 police officers come run into frame at 6:44 and get on the elevator. As they're getting on the elevator, the doorman's coming off. So the doorman shows the paramedics upstairs, and then he comes back down. As he's getting off, 2 police officers then get on the elevator at 6:44. And then 2 other paramedics with a stretcher come into frame at 6:45, and they get on the elevator at 6:46. All of the footage I found, the time frames are only that are at least posted on the internet from 3 to 5 p.m. and then 5 to 7 p.m. So whatever happened before and after those times, I wasn't able to see.
Okay.
So first responders arrive and also find Ellen sitting slumped in the kitchen with a serrated knife plunged 4 inches into her chest.
So she's still sitting.
Yeah, he left her in that position that he found her in.
Okay.
She sustained 20 stab wounds.
Jesus.
It's not just this knife in the heart. There's 19 other stab wounds. 10 of them are to the back of her head and neck.
Oh my God.
10 are to her chest and abdomen area. A few
my
sources,
God.
yeah. A few sources say she was pronounced dead at 6:40. Even in the police and autopsy reports that I personally read through say that. But like I pointed out earlier, the first people to arrive at the scene didn't even get on the elevator till 6:42.
42, okay, yep.
So how was she pronounced dead at 6:40 unless they're letting her fiance pronounce her dead? I don't know.
So wait, so if they're saying it's 6:40
is when she's pronounced dead.
Is when she's pronounced dead. You saw them, and that time was 6:42.
Yeah, no one even got up to the room or on the elevator till 6:42.
Okay, and then earlier, same
according
thing.
to surveillance footage.
Yes, but earlier than him calling 911, everybody said 6:30.
Mm-hmm. But he's not even upstairs yet at 6:32.
At 6:30.
So there's like some discrepancies here with what's being reported and what's actually on footage.
I'm wondering if the time on the footage though is just off by a couple minutes. Is what I'm
I don't
starting
know.
to think. Yeah, but I don't know either.
That would be the only explanation, or just negligence. I don't know.
That too. I feel like it would be more. Sorry, I feel like it would be more negligent if it was more of a time span that they didn't like make any effort on trying to figure it out. A couple of minutes, I get it, but like,
yeah. But on a death certificate, like, I don't know.
I don't know either. Okay, sorry.
Oh, you're good. The conversation's good. So Detective Sierra of Homicide arrived on scene at 7:31 p.m. Sam tells police when interviewed that the security doorman was present when he broke in, but that's not true. When Sam goes back upstairs at 6:32, he's alone, and that is proven on surveillance. Phil Doorman even signed a written declaration saying he did not accompany Sam back up to the room. He only accompanied the 3 firemen that first arrived. So it's a little strange that Sam would lie about that, especially when there is like surveillance footage proof.
Okay,
so,
yeah.
I don't know. That's a little weird. So I'm going to read through the investigative report written by investigator Stephen Olszewski that details the scene and what was found and whatnot. So I have it in front of me. I'm just going to kind of read through some of this.
Okay.
I arrived to the scene at 20:27 and was met by 5th District Police Snipes. The decedent's fiance, Samuel Goldberg, along with his family and some friends, are also present. The decedent's fiance, Samuel Goldberg, reportedly left the decedent at the apartment around 16:45 to go to the gym, returned around 7:15 to 7:30, was unable to get into the apartment. He opened the door with his keys, but the door was secure from the inside. Proceeded to try and contact the decedent via text messages, phone calls, emails for approximately an hour before he forced entry into the apartment. An apartment security man was reportedly present during entry, which is not true. He immediately discovered her and called 911. Radio time is at 18:33. So that's a little more accurate from what I saw on footage.
Okay.
The location of death is in the kitchen of the decedent's apartment located at Venice Loft Apartments, 4601 Flat Rock Road. It's a 2-bedroom apartment on the 6th floor of the building shared by the decedent with her fiancé, Samuel Goldberg. The apartment is well kept, clean. The inside lock to the front door, a common latch that solid barred door guard, is broken with the screws on the door loose, obviously forced in when in a locked position. Throughout the entire apartment, there is no evidence of a struggle. Furniture and items appear in place. Nothing is obviously missing or disturbed. There are numerous valuables present: money, keys, 3 laptop computers, 1 in the kitchen on the island, 1 in the master bedroom suite on the floor, as evidenced by wedding material. Appears to be the decedent's, as evidenced by wedding material, and 1 on an additional bedroom desk. There is no note found or anything indicative of suicide on the computers or in the rest of the apartment. The only way to exit the apartment with the front doorway locked is through a rear slider leading to a patio. The patio is 6 stories high. There is snow present with no tracks or footprints, completely undisturbed. The ambient temperature is inside the apartment reads 69 degrees on a thermostat. The incident occurred during a winter storm. So that's what they're saying the scene looked like when they got in. So there's no sign of a break-in or anything like that. Prescription medications are recovered from a bedstand located in the master bedroom. Prescriber Dr. Ellen Berman. Prescriptions: alprazolam, clonazepam, and zolpidem. A paper booklet is in the decedent's pocketbook that's on a chair at the living room island. Resembles a journal of her medications and her state of mind while taking. Last dated 1/16. The decedent's cell phone is in the master bathroom. And then they kind of go through the text that Sam had sent her that I read earlier. The decedent is on the hardwood kitchen floor located just inside the door entrance. The decedent is found supine with her head and some of her upper body and shoulders resting against the lower half of the white kitchen cabinets next to the range. Her body, starting with the head, is facing north and legs west. She is clad in a zipper-up, dark-colored shirt over top a gray t-shirt, gray sweatpants, underwear, and light brown Ugg boots. A pair of eyeglasses are on the floor to the right of the decedent. A white towel is grasped in her left hand. A hair tie or scrunchie is on her right wrist. There are no personal effects on the upper body. Upon further examination of the body, the decedent has a knife embedded in her left chest through her clothing. There are multiple stab wounds examined at the scene. At the chest where the knife is located, a few superficial grouped nearby, 1 to the left upper chest near the clavicle, 2 more at the mid-chest between and just below the breast. There are defects to the shirts consistent with the underlying wounds. There are no defense injuries to the hands, wrists, or forearms. The right hand is closed in a loose fist. Post-mortem findings at arrival at 2027 and 2155 are the same. The body is mostly flaccid. The hands appear to be slightly stiff. The body is cool to the touch at the extremities and warm to the touch at the torso, front, and back. Lividity is inconspicuous. Findings are consistent with current position of the body. Blood is present on the head, in the hair and neck. The right hand has blood on it. On the front side of her shirts, along her pants, on the front side and on top of both her boots is blood. The right boot has blood on the sole. The blood around her is generally confined to the area of the body, on the floor underneath, and on the face of the cabinets behind her. One small blood spatter is on the cabinet to the left of the body. 2 separate drops of blood spatter are on the granite countertops above her. 2 kitchen knives are in the sink adjacent to the body. They are free of any blood or tissue. The sink underneath is dry and also bears no evidence of blood or tissue. A knife block is on the counter between sink and range. It is turned over to the side. The 3 utensils are a spatula, fork, and paring knife, all that bears no evidence of blood or tissue. The knife in her body is consistent with the knife set found in the sink and in the block. So that's kind of what the scene looks like. So there are some other knives there, but none of them have any evidence of blood on them, just the one that is in her chest.
And to me, it sounds like... So I was sitting here thinking, I was like, okay, so her cell phone was in the master bathroom, so she was in the master bathroom getting together. She has a hair tie on her wrist. You know, like, I'm picturing myself as a woman, like...
Yeah.
And then the kitchen's by the front
She
door.
has shoes on.
Yep, she's got shoes on. But I couldn't tell with that description. Is like she dressed to go out, or is she just lounging around the
It
house?
says she's
'Cause,
wearing like sweatpants, so it sounds more like loungewear. But
yeah, that's, to me, I was like, is she lounging? You know, like, my thing is that I'm stuck on right now is the deadbolt being locked. And now with that report saying there's no disturbance out on the back porch with the fresh snowfall, they're on the 6th floor.
Yep.
So how do you get out of an apartment? You can get into an apartment very easily,
right,
by being let in by said person, and then they can deadbolt it behind you. But then how do you get out of that apartment after you've killed somebody and it's deadbolted behind you? That's...
Unless he broke it before he went down to the gym. He had this planned. If that is the case.
Yeah.
Because no one saw him
go
back into the room. No one saw him break into the apartment.
And he
because
did
I was kind of
lie.
stuck on that too. Well, how did it break?
Yeah, and he did lie, trying to have that little alibi of like, oh, the doorman was with me.
Yes, someone was here with me.
Yeah. Okay. All right. We're on to something. Okay. All right. Go ahead.
So this all happens on January 26th. That's when she's died, however. On January 27, 2011, Ellen's autopsy was performed by Dr. Marlon Osborne at the Philadelphia Medical Examiner's Office. In addition to the 20 stab wounds, there are multiple bruises. Right upper arm has a round 3 by 4 centimeter contusion. Right forearm has a 3 by 1.5 centimeter area of 3 round contusions. The right lower quadrant abdomen has a 3 by 3.5 centimeter contusion. The right thigh has a vertical row of round contusions that are 2.5 by 3 centimeters, 4.5 by 3 centimeters, and 5 by 6 centimeters. And above the right knee is a 4.5 by 3 centimeter area of 3 round contusions. The hyoid bone and cartilage are intact. The manner of death is listed as homicide. And I read through the autopsy report. It says homicide.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Also, on the morning of January 27th, The senior property manager of Venice Lofts Apartments, Melissa Ware, received a call from Sam's uncle James Schwartzman requesting access to retrieve items for the funeral. She did her due diligence. She called police and asked them if this was okay, and the police department confirmed there were no entry restrictions. Not only that, but they recommended a cleanup service.
Oh my God.
So this is kind of the first clue in this case that police are not doing their job correctly. And leaning towards her death being a suicide. Because they also never called crime scene to the unit on the 26th. Crime scene was never called to their apartment.
Why not?
That's a great question.
Suck. What?
That's a great question.
What do you mean? There's 20 stab wounds and half of them are to the back of somebody's head and we're calling it suicide.
Uh-huh.
What do you mean? What do you mean we're not going to get crime scene in here to investigate? Whose first day of work is this? Speak up.
Apparently the entire police force's first day.
God, get it together here.
That's why this case is so infuriating.
That is ridiculous. That is.
So a cleanup service was arranged that same day on the 27th.
Oh my God!
Yeah, the same day. There was no waiting. They were getting it done.
Holy moly.
So when they were done, Ware, the property manager, notified James that he and his son came in, could come by, and they did, and they took a suit, Ellen's purse, her cell phone, and her laptop.
Okay, where's Sam at this point?
That I'm not sure.
Okay, because they're getting the things.
Trying to get into his uncle a little bit, but I think they're trying to get him no involvement.
Okay, all right.
Is what I think.
Okay.
So they take Ellen's purse, cell phone, laptop, and then they grab a suit for Sam. Police needed to prepare affidavits and obtain a search warrant to re-enter the apartment once the ME ruled Ellen's death as a homicide. But they told this property manager, "Oh, go ahead, go in. Let's go
open door. Might as well have an open house.
They have to go through all this for them to get back in. Professionals to get back in, they have to go through all this, but they're just going to let any random person go back in and take what they want.
Yep.
Make it make sense.
You know what this reminds me of?
By the time the warrant was secured, what'd you say?
You know what this reminds me of? The Micah Miller case.
We got to cover that at some point. Once things are...
Oh, it'll be years
done investigating and stuff.
Yeah, it'll be a long time. But yeah, it just reminds me because I remember they let people go in and out of the apartment and stuff. And it's like, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Cover up. By the time the search warrant was secured, the apartment had already been cleaned up by a crime scene cleanup crew because that's what they told Melissa Ware to do. Items they could have used as evidentiary value were either removed or cleaned up.
Yep, I mean that was their job. They did do their job, I guess.
They did. Ellen's funeral took place on January 28th in Harrisburg, PA. And even though Sam's uncle took some of Ellen's belongings, they didn't give them to Ellen's family.
What?
They held on to them.
Why? What?
If this doesn't scream cover up and trying to hide evidence, I don't know what does.
Why? It was the purse. It was
her
what
laptop.
Else was it? Laptop. Okay. And the cell phone. Okay.
So one thing I didn't mention earlier, Sam's uncle James is former assistant U.S. attorney for the Eastern District of Pennsylvania.
Oh my God.
And previously served as chairman of the Pennsylvania Judicial Conduct Board, is a former chairman of the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania's Disciplinary Board, Continuing Legal Education Board, and the Interest on Lawyers Trust Accounts Board.
Wow.
And to top it off, he was elected President Judge of the Pennsylvania Court of Judicial Discipline in October 2021.
Wow. So
this man knows what he's doing and what needs to be done to help someone get away with a crime.
Yeah. And also, like, knows people.
Knows lots of people.
And money talks.
Money talks. Power talks.
Power talks, yes. Wow. Okay.
There is not a single person in politics that isn't corrupt.
So let's be real here. Little nephew over here had an accident, called up his big old uncle, and uncle said, "I got you.
Yeah, let me handle it.
Shut your mouth. And you don't talk from here on out. I will."
Mm-hmm.
Hung up the phone, and now steps in uncle, who owns the show now. And that's little nephew over there is going to sit down and shut up while, big bad uncle over here, he fixes all the problems and sweeps it under the rug and, thinks he's big and bad.
Yep. So that's what we're working with here.
And to think he did it. He did that.
Mm-hmm. No shame.
Yeah. Yep. Men, I tell you.
Mm-hmm. On January 29th, police collected the 3 laptops and cell phone from James. Thank goodness.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
But they had it for a whole day. Who knows what they were trying to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
When investigating her belongings, her computer revealed searches for quick death a few weeks before her death. She also opened an article on euthanasia and browsed a website about painless suicide. So some of this will play into why police are like, nope, this was a suicide. The Greenberg's attorney says there is
painless suicide, and we're thinking, oh, well, she was Googling that.
I know, but she stabbed herself 20 times for a painless suicide.
That's really what she wanted. I knew it. Wow. Okay.
I'm sorry, but no one that commits suicide is going to do it by stabbing themselves 20 times.
20 times. Wow.
The Greenberg's attorney says there is no evidence on the hard drive of suicide or death-related searches demonstrating obsession about either topic. And there's that was a quote. Their experts said there was not direct searches, but instead phantom searches, which appear because of analytics. Since she was taking medication for anxiety and searched online about side effects, which brought up searches about suicide. The police report noted Ellen's laptop was found open to wedding planning sites, so there was nothing to suggest Ellen planned on taking her life that day. She clearly was doing wedding planning. A day or two after the autopsy was completed, the Philadelphia Police Department released a statement saying, "The death of Ellen Greenberg has not been ruled a homicide. Homicide investigators are considering the manner of death as suspicious at this time," basically undermining the ME's ruling of homicide.
How is that legal? Like, I don't think that's legal.
I don't know that it is.
Like, I started watching Dr. G Medical Examiner again, and one of the things I remember her saying in there is like, I'm the decider of what the death is. And then from there is where, like, the police take it. They don't decide. Like, she decided.
Right.
So if it was homicide, then the police were like, okay, homicide, got to investigate this. So I don't understand how police can overrule that. Like, that should not be legal whatsoever.
I don't know. It's just part of the infuriatingness of this case.
Yeah. This is ridiculous. Yeah. Yeah.
The Philadelphia Police Department demand to meet with Osborne, the medical examiner, and his boss on March 3rd, 2011. And in the meeting was also a high-ranking representative from the Philadelphia District Attorney's Office. Well, I kind of wonder if it could have been Sam's uncle. I don't know.
Yeah. That's pretty solid assumption there.
On April 4th, 2011, Dr. Osborne made the decision to change his original ruling of homicide to suicide based on additional police investigations. But I personally think he was forced or threatened to make
Yeah.
that change.
Yeah, that's yeah. He's just a medical examiner, so big old threats can do a lot of things for you.
Yeah.
Especially in a dirty little town like Philly. I mean,
Mhm.
no offense, Philly, go Eagles, but
So this additional investigation claims while her spinal dura was incised, the spinal cord was not penetrated, meaning she could still move after being stabbed.
Shut up.
I'm sorry, you think after someone slices through their spinal dura that they're going to continue stabbing themselves?
Oh yeah, and oh my god, and the back of the head, back of the neck,
Uh-huh.
like
No, if she was going to kill herself, it would have been the one to the heart. Why is
this
she
is how
stabbing behind her head, all over her abdomen?
this is how the movie Smile was inspired. They just pictured
Maybe.
that they just continue.
So that was finding one of their additional investigation. Number 2, the apartment door was locked with no signs of forced entry or a struggle, inferring she was alone.
But
3, toxicology tests indicated... Oh, go ahead.
but the lock thing, like you said earlier, nobody's like you said, there's no confirmation that it was done in the
Yeah,
moment.
we don't know. He might be saying he can't get in the apartment, but that could have been all a part of his story.
Yeah. Okay.
There's no
I
proof
mean,
that he couldn't have broke that latch for he went to the gym.
I wish, but like, also, it would have made noise. So I wish if somebody would have came forward and would have been like, "Yeah, I heard like a big bang in the morning or whatever," like, because like that would have had to make noise, unless he
But you
just
think
took
she
it.
also would have been screaming too while someone's stabbing her?
Yeah, it's true. I mean, yeah. Okay, this
Yeah,
case,
there's
man.
a lot of. I know.
You keep doing this.
The third additional finding was toxicology tests indicated the presence of prescription medication in Ellen's system, including zolpidem, clonazepam, and alprazolam, but she had prescriptions for all of those.
Yeah.
She was previously on another, I think it was an SSRI, and then they took her off of that. So at the time of her death, she was only taking zolpidem and Klonopin, but she did have a prior prescription for Xanax that wasn't currently being used.
Okay.
Osborne later said in a deposition, "She's the only one found in the apartment with nothing disturbed, nothing out of place, no other way of getting in there. It doesn't lend to the fact that someone else was there to do it, so that was discounted." Dr. Osborne also stated that the meeting was scheduled because the investigating officers requested the manner of death be changed from homicide to pending. When asked if this has ever happened before, having this elaborate meeting to have the manner of death changed, he said, "No, never."
No, yeah, exactly. Why are we making this
So why is this happening?
Yeah. Because we need to cover this up because someone Why else would they?
Yeah, I don't care what evidence they think they have. This was not a suicide.
Oh, they literally.
There was
They
no
should
note.
be ashamed of themselves.
They should be.
Yeah. That they're all going to sit there, multiple people are going to sit there and try and claim this to be a suicide.
Mm-hmm.
That this, for that woman to do it, like, that's terrible.
There was no note. She stopped for gas on her way home. Why would she fill her tank if she was just going to go home and kill herself?
She's
was planning
her
a
wedding. Yeah.
Police even said they saw the
Jinx.
page up on her laptop. And her family knows her best. They said she would never do that. Her parents never believed for a moment her death was the result of suicide. They believe she was murdered, and so do I.
Yeah, me too. Put me on that list. Where do we pick it?
Yeah, I don't know. In Philly, I guess.
I guess.
You'll have to come back.
That's right.
All right, now we're going to fast forward to January 2012. Ellen's parents hired Dr. Cyril Wecht? I don't know. A forensic pathologist to conduct an independent autopsy review. The key findings were unusual nature of stab wounds. 20 stab wounds, including deep neck and back injuries, are highly inconsistent with suicide. Lack of defensive wounds. While Ellen had no clear defensive wounds, Dr. Wetch argues this does not prove suicide, as she could have been incapacitated early in an attack.
Yeah.
Concerns over crime scene handling. The apartment was cleaned too soon, and key evidence may have been lost. Then suspicious nature of injuries. Stab wounds to the back and neck raised doubts whether she could have inflicted them herself.
I was like, can we line that up? Because I guarantee she can't.
Mm-hmm. He recommended a comprehensive reinvestigation, including a thorough review of all forensic evidence and witness statements, and he said, quote, "In all my years of experience and all of the homicides that I've done and suicides, I've never seen anything like this," end quote. Another outside pathologist, Wayne Ross, pointed out a hemorrhage in her neck muscles that he thought was indicative of strangulation. Now, of note, on the autopsy report, it did say her hyoid bone was intact, but
Yeah.
He wrote that various bruises on her body, quote, were consistent with a repeated beating, unquote.
Oh my goodness.
Forensic scientist Henry Lee, who testified for the defense of O.J. Simpson murder trial, reviewed the case files and concluded, quote, "The number and type of wounds and bloodstain patterns observed are consistent with a homicide scene," end quote. Dr. Wayne K. Ross wrote that the injuries from the stab wounds to the brain and spinal cord would have caused severe pain, cranial nerve dysfunction, and traumatic brain injuries, meaning she could not have continued stabbing herself.
Wow. I can't believe they even have to come up with that defense.
Yeah, I know.
Sounds ridiculous.
So that was 2012. Now we're moving to October 2019. Still nothing's happening.
2019!
2019.
Yeah, oh my gosh.
Throughout all this time, her parents have been doing whatever they can to get people to re-review her case. But so now we're in October 2019. The Greenbergs' attorney, Joseph Pedraza Jr., filed a civil lawsuit on their behalf against both the Philadelphia Medical Examiner's Office and Dr. Osborne to get officials to change Ellen's manner of death from suicide to either undetermined or back to homicide. Her mom is quoted saying, "We just want Ellen's name cleared. She did not do this to herself, and she deserves justice. They try to close our doors, but we always find another way in. We're never giving up."
Good.
I feel so bad for them.
Yeah.
I can't imagine your child being killed in such a horrible way, and then no one believing you or even wanting to take a look at the case. Or "Oh nope, it's suicide. We don't care what you have to say."
Well,
and just having to live with that every day.
To think as a parent, the police are supposed to when something tragic like this happens to your child, you want a detective or something to solve this kind of case and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, they're being told, "No, you're wrong.
Right.
She killed herself."
Mm-hmm.
And so that's
you don't know your own child.
Yeah, that's probably such a terrible, defeating feeling that your hands are tied. Those are the people who are determining whether this takes the next step, we're going to a trial, or it ends here, type of thing.
Yeah.
And they're telling you, "Nah, we're not gonna pursue anything past this because she killed herself."
Right.
So,
Dr. Emery, a pathologist in the medical examiner's office in 2019, trained in neuropathology, was sought out for her opinion on Ellen's injuries, and she did an independent exam based on the previous reports and photos. She said what was most significant was there were wounds on Ellen that had no hemorrhaging, meaning there was no pulse to pump out blood when those ones were inflicted. So she was already dead.
She was already dead. I mean, 20 stab wounds is a lot.
Yeah, it is. This questions Ellen's ability to inflict all wounds on herself, stating that the injury to her brain and cervical spine would have incapacitated her. So how did she stab herself in the heart then?
Yeah. Is there did anybody look at Sam if he's got injuries?
Not that I read anywhere. He's still not considered a suspect.
Okay, so yeah, because they think it's a suicide. So,
I don't think they cared to check him.
No, I was gonna say because
I couldn't even find anything about interviews with him. I know they like interviewed him at the scene, but I couldn't find anything that they took into the station.
Could you see in the videos or anything? Did his hands look?
No, I mean it was a little grainy, but no,
Because you would think
he was kind of far away.
20 stab wounds. I mean, you would think somebody's could possibly be injuring themselves. And
Possibly,
punching.
yeah, unless he did incapacitate her in some way. Like maybe the first wound was enough to take her out, and then he just kept going and then showered before he went to the gym.
Well, I mean, I'm figuring that, but I was just thinking like, injuring yourself in this whole mess. But I mean, maybe not. Maybe you got lucky.
Because also, what are the odds that this just happens while you decide to step out for 45 minutes?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. With this new evidence, the Greenbergs requested Pennsylvania Attorney General Josh Shapiro, at that time, he's now our governor, to review and reopen their daughter's case. The medical examiner's office relied heavily on what it said were findings of an outside neuropathologist, Lucy Rourke Adams, back in 2011, who determined Greenberg's brain and spinal cord was not damaged by the wounds to the back of her neck, which would have allowed her to inflict the subsequent wounds on herself, including the final one in her chest. But oddly, nobody has ever been able to produce her report or an invoice for it. And Rourke Adams herself previously told the Inquirer that she had no recollection of the case.
She probably said that shit. She probably said that shit and then was like, oh wait, oh no, I looked at this case and oh my god, I sound so dumb.
Yeah, I don't know. But they were using her information as part of their suicide theory.
Yeah.
But there's no proof of it, and she's saying she has no recollection of the case.
Yeah, so what you got, sir? What do you got?
It came out that Josh Shapiro had some sort of relationship with a family member of Sam Goldberg, which gave the appearance of a conflict of interest.
So we call that a conflict of interest.
Her case was given to Chester County DA instead in 2022.
Wow.
So now this man has some sort of relation to Sam. The Pennsylvania Attorney General.
Yeah.
Is now on his side.
That would be currently taking care of whatever this new update would be as well then.
Yeah, whatever his uncle wants to hide, I'm sure Josh is letting it slide.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's a family business, baby.
Mm-hmm.
That's disgusting.
It's just like, what are the odds? Of course he's involved too. Shapiro's full involvement in the case may never be apparent, and it took his office 2 years to determine a possible conflict of interest. It took them 2 years to be like, oh, you know what? Maybe you shouldn't be handling this.
Wow.
This case is nuts.
It's really disgusting how higher up people.
The word.
Yeah.
So there is actually a recent update in her case as of January 31st, which we will get into shortly. But Shapiro was interviewed about the update, and he defends his role on her case. And I'll share a direct quote from him.
Okay.
He transferred it, meaning her case, to the Chester County District Attorney, if my memory serves me. They looked at it for a couple of years, and they found the same determination as well. It has to have some evidence with it, not just someone feeling different. But certainly if there's some evidence that this medical examiner has uncovered, I'm not familiar with that, I'm no longer the AG. If they have new evidence, new information, they should share that immediately. As a father of 4, my heart breaks for the Greenberg family. No family should ever have to bury a child. There's nothing I wanted more than to give these parents some finality, some answer, some clarification of why we received more evidence, more information during the course of our investigation that sadly didn't show what they wanted it to show, but actually rather pointed to more data, more information that pointed toward a suicide. Like, shut up and piss off.
Yeah.
You didn't care about helping them.
If my memory serves me,
Mm-hmm.
he don't give a shit.
No.
He literally does not care.
Nope.
I have 4 kids of my own, and nobody should ever have to. Like, he had to throw that in there to make sure that he seemed a little bit sympathetic for them.
Mm-hmm.
But in reality, how? Oh God, that there's they found the same evidence that it's a suicide. Get out of here.
So if there's a cover-up going on, he's involved. Like,
I want to know the how many commas were on those checks that were written.
yeah.
I want to know. I really do. I would love to know how
Mhm.
many. 2?
Yeah, I never really
Was it
had
at least
any.
2?
I never really had any like opinions on Shapiro before. Like, I didn't really follow him or know much about him becoming governor, but I now strongly dislike him.
Yeah, I mean that would. This is a. If you wanted to get to know him, I guess this was a really run it home for you how you're going to feel about him kind of case.
Yeah, yeah. And sorry
Wow.
if you guys can see me frequently fixing my glasses. They're broken, so I keep trying to keep it on my face.
Oh my God.
All right, so now we get to present time. As of January 31st, 2025, an update in Ellen's case was announced. After years of investigation, multiple lawsuits, and a petition that has more than 166,000 signatures, the pathologist who performed her autopsy says that he changed his mind. Again.
Oh. Oh my goodness.
Philadelphia medical examiner Marlon Osborne initially called the death a homicide, then switched the ruling to suicide after police publicly challenged his findings. Osborne wrote in a statement on the 31st that he now is unsure of the series of events that happened that day. Quote, whether Ellen's fiancé was witnessed entering the apartment before placing the 911 call on January 26th, whether the door was forced open as reported, whether Ellen's body was moved by someone else inside the apartment with her or at or near the time of her death, and the findings of Lindsay Emery, MD, from neuropathological evaluation of Ellen's cervical segment sample. There was supposed to be a civil lawsuit on Monday, February 3rd. The one I mentioned earlier about their lawyer getting one involved on the city of Philadelphia and the medical examiner's office. That was supposed to happen on Monday, February 3rd. They were accusing the city of Philadelphia of emotional distress for mishandling Ellen's death investigation. That Osborne, another medical examiner, and a homicide detective were supposed to testify at. But the Greenbergs chose to settle that same day, so the suit never actually went through. Attorney William Trask of Lamb McErlin said, quote, now the city has agreed that the current medical examiner will reopen Ellen's case and look at the evidence of her manner of death and come to their own conclusion, unquote. An undisclosed monetary settlement is also part of the agreement. Her mom said, quote, it's been 14 years we've been trying to clear Ellen Greenberg's name, and we're very proud of her, and we hope we made her proud of us today. So finally, they're going to reinvestigate her case.
After
now, I mean, there's not a lot of physical evidence because it all got cleaned up, but there's still lots they can work with.
There is, but I don't know. I don't know if they could come to a conclusion with the evidence that they have.
I don't know either.
Which is so hard because, like, usually when it's a case that you can't, like, solve, it's like, oh, no body, no crime type of thing. Well, we have a body and we have a crime, but, like, they, like you said, cleaned up all the evidence. There's no evidence. There's no evidence. Because since there is no evidence, that whatever story they're going to spin is all circumstantial. Whatever they're going to tell in court to try and, like, prosecute whoever it is, whether it's Sam or whoever, it's all going to just be circumstantial evidence.
Yeah, because there is no clear motive.
No. There's nothing. There's no motive. There's no...
I'm going to mention something here in just a second that could maybe be, but nothing clear
Yeah.
to determine like why he would kill her. Because clearly his family must be decently well off with his wealthy attorney uncle or whatever. So like there's money wouldn't be a factor for killing her. You know, she's a school teacher.
I'm wondering if it's just... It could have been drugged up rage.
Yeah, I don't
On
know.
his
There's not a lot of information about him. Like,
Yeah,
you know, when
that's
I
what I'm
type
saying.
his name in on Google, I could not find much. And he also does not speak out, which I'm getting into next. He has really not spoken out at all much since Ellen was murdered, killed, whatever. Her mom, Sandy, told DailyMail.com that Goldberg, now a married father of 2, living in New York, hasn't reached out to her, her husband, or their legal team about the huge development in his ex-fiance's case. So he said nothing now that this new evidence is brought to light that they're going to reopen. He said nothing.
Yeah, he don't care.
She describes his silence following the medical examiner's conclusion and City's announcement of a new investigation as very interesting, and especially not just him but his family. No one has reached out to us that I'm aware of, she said. The last time they heard from him was in an email in 2013 announcing his engagement to his now wife, Caroline May.
An email?
So she dies in December or January 2011, and he's emailing them just 2 years later that he's engaged. That's not a very long time to date somebody and decide you want to marry them, unless you were seeing them prior to Ellen dying.
I can't say anything because my dad died and then mom and dad were married like 2 years later, so. I know.
But he wasn't murdered. Like, I don't know. You know what I mean? I
yeah,
feel
but
like
Sam probably, like,
oh, traumatic. But...
Sam's on the suicide side of things.
Mm-hmm, he is.
So he's like, oh yeah, I'll just move on, you know,
I don't know, but like, even like being the one that he found her with all these a knife in her chest. I don't know. It just seems weird to me.
No, it doesn't with the reaction he had on that phone call.
Mm-hmm.
Like she had cooties or something when she's dead.
Right.
Like,
so yeah, less than 2 years, he's announcing he's getting engaged, and then they got married in January 2014, almost exactly 3 years after Ellen's death.
Oh my god, I can't believe that. That is messed up.
That's a slap in the face.
Yeah, it is. That's messed up. To even
every
just do
month,
this.
And you pick January.
Yeah, you pick January. Wow, that's messed up.
So it seems a little rushed to me, which makes it look suspicious. But I mean, some people, I don't know. Like, how long did he grieve for before he decided to move on so quickly? Unless, like I said, he was already seeing her.
Mm-hmm.
So he's already, you know, he got Ellen out of the way, and now.
Yeah, like another, what's his name? Watts.
Chris Watts, yeah.
Chris Watts. Another one of those, just getting rid of. But this one, he had power and money on his side to get away with it for this one.
Mm-hmm. And like I said, there's no proof that he did this, but there's lots of suspicious circumstances pointing towards him.
Yeah, I mean, but like, we literally can't even look at the total evidence because the police already were like already marking it off as hey, it's a suicide, so there was no collected evidence for us to, you know, like all the surveillance footage and stuff, was it actually combed through properly, you know? Like,
yeah, there's lots of negligence in this case.
Yeah.
Lots of missed opportunities.
Ugh. Literally a crime scene cleaned up.
Yeah. And they didn't even have crime scene text there to even take anything. Like,
So there was no crime scene photos or anything.
there are some photos
Okay.
that I seen that are like online. But as far as like other areas of the building, not that I'm aware of.
No.
Or their apartment or whatever.
Yeah.
Ellen's mom also thinks she was being abused. She said, after reading the autopsy report many, many, many times, there were bruises in various stages of healing from abuse. Sam spoke out for the first time in December 2024. So it took him 13 years to say something.
Yeah. Yeah, it did. Okay.
And he's quoted saying, "When Ellen took her own life, it left me bewildered. She was a wonderful and a kind person who had everything to live for. When she died, a part of me died with her. Unimaginably, in the years that have passed, I've had to endure unimaginable passing of my future wife and the pathetic and despicable attempts to desecrate my reputation and her privacy by creating a narrative that embraces lies, distortions, and falsehoods in order to avoid the truth. Mental illness is very real and has many victims."
Ooh, that's a narcissist.
What a pathetic loser, making her death about him.
Yeah, that is a narcissist. The way he turns it around, the way they
Mhm.
turn it around.
Uh-huh. That's what he said.
Yeah, and make it about him and about other people, like, oh, it's their fault, like mental illness is a whatever he said.
Mhm.
Like, get the hell out of here.
And this mental illness was very short-lived. It was only like not long before her death where family noticed a change in her. She wasn't just previously mentally ill.
No,
She was
and
going
like
through something that made her very stressed and anxious.
in the moment, like she was fine though.
Mhm.
Otherwise,
Yes.
like
No
there was
history of mental
no,
illness in her. This was very situational. Something was
yeah,
happening.
yes, and everybody has those situations. Like work is a prime example
Yeah.
that gets you worked up
Oh yeah.
sometimes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we
Mhm.
both of us, like sometimes I smolder on things for a day or two from
Mhm.
work or whatever,
Right.
and
Yeah.
and then you get over it. But
Mhm.
like everybody has those times of something upsetting them, whether it is anger or sadness or whatever it may be. You know,
Mhm.
Mm.
Yeah.
Waits 13 years, and that's
That's
the
what he says.
bullshit.
That's what he
That's
chooses
the
to say.
bullshit he plops out of that mug of his. Okay. Wow. That's and he's getting married. Well, here I am single. What is this?
Oh, he's already married. They got married in
Oh,
2014.
and they got married. Yeah. Oh my
They've
god.
been married 10 years now. Oh, 11, I guess.
Ugh.
11 years now.
Wow.
Yeah. I read an article where Sandy, her mom, said, like she had even, like they were talking on the phone and she said something like, Sam, Ellen didn't kill herself. And he just didn't say anything and hung up.
What? Wait, who? Where's this information from?
One of the articles I read.
Oh, one of the articles you read. Okay.
Mhm.
Hmm.
That Sandy, her mom was talking on the phone with him about like things and it was like, she didn't kill herself. And
Yeah.
he just didn't say anything, hung up.
Wow. It's a family affair, really.
Mm-hmm.
Is what it has to be,
Yeah.
I guess. Wow. That's I'm glad they're reopening it though, but like I said, I just feel like it's already drug through the mud
Mhm.
so much,
I know.
unfortunately, that I don't think we're going to see justice in this one.
And he's
I
never
think-
been named a suspect. I don't know if that'll change with this new investigation, but as of right now, he's not.
Wow, that's crazy. 20 stab wounds, and I guess Freddy Krueger did it. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited for this new investigation, but I'm also nervous because her and her family deserve justice, and I don't know if they're going to get it. And
I know. Well, I was
Fingers
trying to
crossed.
think. She would have been a year older than my oldest sister. So 42. She would have been 42 this year.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously her parents are getting up there too, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I mean, not like super old, like my parents aren't super old or anything, but like,
Mhm.
of course, this is something
Probably
that
close to 70 or something, you know?
I'm not telling mom that you said she could be close to 70. She'll kill you.
Well, it depends. Well, she had kids young. She started young.
she did. Yeah, mom did have kids very young. But like they've been hanging on to this or having to deal with this for so long.
But I meant now. They're probably close to 70.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying is that
Mhm.
now they've
Yeah.
been hanging on to it for so long
I
that
know.
like I just want, like, for any parent, they should have that kind of settlement, that kind of, not settlement, that what's the word I'm looking for? Like,
Closure?
yes, closure. Yeah.
Mhm.
More of like that closure for them after all these freaking years, when you know deep down in your heart that your child did not like do that to themselves. And obviously,
Yeah.
and like any sane person, educated person can see that this is not a suicide. That's not,
Yeah.
it's just not going to happen like that.
No.
Like, I don't get how, well, I do, I do get it. I do get it. It was money and power, and you're right. It was definitely, I believe, a cover up.
Her parents did create a Facebook page called Justice for Ellen that everyone should go follow.
Oh, I will have to.
Yeah, I did. But yeah, that's the sad and strange case of Ellen Rae Greenberg.
Bitch, send me an invite next time you just
I
join
will.
a group like that.
I will.
Jerk.
So thank you so much for listening. I know this was a long one.
It was
But
good,
there
though.
was a lot to cover. There's a lot of ups and downs and
Yeah.
weird things.
Sam did it. He did it. I know it. That's what I'll say right now. He did it. You support, I mean, I don't know who else could have, so.
And I did so much talking. My lip gloss is gone.
Oh no, I know my lip.
I had brown lips, now they're lip color.
Now they're lip color. Wow.
So you take it away.
I had to think about what I say. I had to think about it for a second.
Yeah, we're still new to
this. Yeah, right. Make like a shadow and follow us on Instagram
at Lurking in the Shadows podcast.
Send us an email
at Gmail. Lurking in the Shadows at gmail.com.
And look, now you messed me up. Check us out on TikTok. So make like a shadow and follow us on Instagram
at Lurking in the Shadows.
I fucking give up. Why won't it come out of my mouth?